Country Diggers. Today we're going to go into a smudge pot on the highway of life history, okay? I'm going to be reading from yellowhammernews.com. That's an Alabama newspaper. And it's by Aaron Smith, November 30th, 2022. And this is a smudge pot. This is I think it's from like 1940s to 60s. It's cast iron. And I found it in one of my dumps. And what you did with it, what they were used for, you could use them for different things. Like some people used them to hang in their gardens or orchards and smoke to keep the insects away. Used it as a smoker to keep the insects away. Some people used them as highway lights, and we'll get into that one. And some people, they used them in like on railroad, for railroad lights and stuff. And all you do is just, they're supposed to be, this one, I couldn't find the little wick thing that went in it. But the wick was supposed to be right here. And it was a big thick wick down in there. And it was supposed to have a top to it and everything. But as I said, this one I found in one of my dumps. And it's from like 1940s to 1960s. And I'll get into it. All right. A smudge pot on the highway of life. Long before flashing amber lights flashed to warn drivers of road hazards, we had smudge pots. They had various brand names such as Flambeau, but the most common name was just a smudge pot. Now, mine is a Storm King. But anyway, it was a common name for at least the least noble of all traffic engineering equipment. The smudge pot stands about 8 inches tall, round on the top with a broad flat bottom that was the same diameter as the height. The new ones were black. The old ones were black. They were all black. They looked like bowling balls half buried in the ground. On top was a small dome with ports on each side. This was the business end of the title of the little sentinel. Perched atop each deployed smudge pot was an orange flame. You read that correctly. And no, I'm not fabricating the story. The smudge pots were actually set ablaze and placed on the roadside to warn drivers of hazards. They just sat and burned when needed. They were filled with kerosene and set afire again, only to be left alone in the dark with only a torch to warn drivers. Sometimes you would see dozens all burning in the dark. Other times you might find only one. No matter how many were deployed, they just burned. In the rain, they burned. In the snow and cold, they burned. In the dark and in the day, they burned. They didn't blink, rotate, or flash. They had no directional arrows. They just burned. It was primitive, but it worked. I wonder how many people are alive today just because a lowly smudge pot just sat on a dark roadside and burned. The smudge pot never received a prize or commendation. They never asked for any recognition. When their task was complete, they were chained together and tossed without care into the open bed of a truck to await their next deployment. They just did what they were made to do. With great passion, I believe we are all gifted to do great things. Mark Twain is reported to have said, The two greatest days in a man's life is the day he is born and the day he discovers why. Sometimes we do great things in the dark with no recognition. That is okay. When we discover our purpose and we are actively engaged in pursuing that purpose, we find a satisfaction that applause can never duplicate. We give much attention to actors, politicians, and talking heads on TV. They have glamorous roles and always have the spotlight shining on them. However, I doubt any have saved as many lives as the common smudge pot. Chances are you owe your very existence in some distant way to a little burning black pot on a roadside. Few of us owe the same to an actor. In a world determined to make you unhappy with who you are, find a way to be who you were created to be. Be who and what God created you to be and become. And there you will find a noble purpose for your life. There you will find a joy that no fame can replace. I am proud to be a smudge pot. And yes, so am I. That was a very inspirational story about the smudge pot. Now, I know that I didn't go into the history of it, but I just wanted to read that. And but the smudge pot was for different things besides the roadside too. Like I said, it was a deterrent for insects in a garden or orchard. It served a purpose for the railroad, lighting the railroad. It served a purpose on the roads. It even served a purpose for, like, when you're out camping or something and you want to keep insects away from your camp, you light a smudge pot. And mine can't be lighted because it does have, like I said, I don't have the wick or anything. I guess I could get one. But it's got a small hole in the bottom, and I'm afraid to light it. But anyway, it's pretty good. And a pretty good inspirational story about the smudge pot and your purpose in life, too. All right, I hope y'all enjoyed. See you back soon.